It's Saturday Night Live.
Hotel accommodations for most guests of Saturday Night Live were furnished by... This is Don Pardo. This is Don Pardo.
Hey, Joe, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm trying to get my Don Pardo impression down. I'd love to have his job.
Why?
Well, I figure I could do what I'm doing now, plus announce on the show. Annie, come on, I'd be set for life.
You're kidding, right? Come on, you're kidding. I know. You're kidding. I know.
Hotel accommodations for most guests of Saturday Night Live were furnished by...
Joe! Oh, Joe!
Don? Don, are you there?
I'm everywhere, Joe.
Sorry, Don. I was just trying to...
Yeah, I know what you were up to, Joe. Now, you behave yourself.
Okay, Don. Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Yes, this is Not Ready for Season 6, where we discuss the much-maligned 6th season of Saturday Night Live. We want to know, did it have promise? Is it as rough as some people have said? And we just want to explore some of the nuances that make this an interesting transitional season of Saturday Night Live. So joining me, my tag team partner, my co-host on Pop Culture 5, Deremy Dove. What's up, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. And by the way, just want you to know, I ain't call you no grasshopper.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it is David Carradine Day.
Yeah.
For season 6 here. So this week we have episode 5, which aired December 20th, 1980. Again, your host, David Carradine. Musical guest, the cast of the Pirates of Penzance. Mm-hmm. So, Deremy, I know you watched Kung Fu. Yes. Did David Carradine exhibit the kind of personality that would make sense for an SNL host? Like in 1980, did this booking make sense?
Yeah, it did. Kung Fu was a show. I wouldn't call it a ratings blockbuster, but it was it had a cult following in like the 70s. And so it's not too far off from there. I think it definitely made sense, especially going with what they've been doing as far as picking the host so far this season. It kind of fits in. And I guess you can see it, and we're going to go over the sketches, but in certain sketches, like that's the personality you got from, the character Kane on Kung Fu.
Yeah.
You kind of got that. So I think it was nice, though, to see David Carradine in this role doing things that he still always had that chill demeanor, but was kind of showing his range and showing his comedic talents. It was kind of cool to see. One of those like nice surprise, like not huge surprises, but a nice surprise, I guess.
Yeah, he was interesting. Like there were moments where it seemed like he was doing more than you would think, like given the Kane persona, I guess, that people knew him. He was going maybe off book a little bit, and I think there was reasons. There may be a specific reason for that we might get into, and maybe a little reason why I don't think David Carradine was invited back ever to host SNL. But it was an interesting episode to me, so I'm excited to talk about it.
I thought he was an interesting host. I liked his skill set.
Yeah,
I liked what he brought. I do get why he wasn't as back. I do understand
the vibe
that part.
was interesting.
Yeah. I was more surprised in a good way by his performance than I thought I was leading into watching this episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because I didn't watch Kung Fu, but I know like the Kane persona and everything. So that's why I was wondering, like, but did this make sense? But yeah, I guess still in 1980, David Carradine does make sense for the show. So I thought it was an interesting episode of SNL. So you want to get to it?
Absolutely, man.
All right. So the cold open, we have Joe Piscopo in the locker room, in the SNL cast member locker room, I guess. He's practicing his Don Pardo impression in hopes of taking Don's job.
This is Don Pardo. This is Don Pardo.
Hey, Joe, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm trying to get my Don Pardo impression down. I'd love to have his job.
Why?
Well, I figure I could do what I'm doing now, plus announce on the show. Annie, come on, I'd be set for life.
So I like when the show lets us behind the curtain, when there's references to the show. I always kind of like when they do that.
I think it was really funny. we talked about on the previous episode about, having people who can do impressions. I don't know how you felt. I thought Joe had a good Pardo impression.
Yeah,
I've heard better,
I think it
but
was solid,
it was good. And so that kind of led to it being like, all right, if he would have like really fumbled the impression, I'd been like, oof. But I thought it was a solid cold open just hearing Joe do a good Don Pardo. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just loving seeing the signs of what we would get in the next few seasons of Joe Piscopo, who I think arguably is one of the more underrated cast members in the show's history.
No, I completely agree. And yeah, I'm a sucker. Like when they mentioned the name Don Pardo, I'm like, oh, cool. Like,
yes.
I'm just a sucker for them exploring the show's own lore, I guess, and letting us peek behind the curtain. And there wasn't like, they didn't extrapolate much from this, but I think it was a fine way to start the show. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think it was a little awkward going from whatever is happening to the live in New York, but I think they're maybe having trouble figuring out how to transition into them saying live from New York. Cause it's still a little awkward, but
yeah,
that's nitpicky maybe.
No, yeah, I think you're right though. You have to transition well to live from New York. Like that is important, and they have like fumbled it. It feels like minus like the first episode is like it's always why is this so awkward to say live from New York to get to that point. But I like Don Pardo being a part of this sketch and the I'm everywhere kind of being like a voice, like he's God talking to Joe. I did think that made it funny for me as well.
Yeah, I think that was the first Pardo appearance in that sense, like being part of the sketch or part of what was going on this season, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so nice start to the show. A cool note from the introduction. Yvonne Hudson gets her first credit as a featured player, officially becoming the first credited black female cast member in SNL history, Deremy.
Yeah, making history this episode. I think it's really cool. I think it's a fun fact that most people don't know about season 6, but like history was made in positive ways with Yvonne Hudson being a credited cast member. So I thought that was really cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. And she'd made an appearance already this season. She made appearances before this and here and there in toward the end of like the first 5 season run. But I love seeing that she's officially credited here. As we're recording this, they don't have a black woman on the cast.
No, definitely SNL when it comes to a lot of things. Like there's not the greatest history when it comes to SNL and race. And I think, yes, they've been called out about it in more recent years, and you've seen the show try to respond to it, but they still have a long way to go here. And this was kind of, like you said, took too long because I feel like she was part of it already.
Yeah, right.
Like, so it's like you might as well have given this to her episodes ago, but I am grateful that she got this and that no matter what, she's a part, even if she wasn't the most known cast member, she's a part of history.
Exactly. Kudos to you, Yvonne Hudson. Congratulations on that honor. So we go to the monologue.
This is for you, Dad. I want to be a dancing man while I can. Gonna leave my footsteps on the sands of time.
He does a song and dance, which I found interesting. But before that, he did a joke where he said his dad said, no son of mine is going to make his living with his feet. The joke did not land at all. And instead of moving past it, David acknowledged it, kind of going a little rogue, I think. He's mentioning that he's just reading the cue card and everything. So maybe, do you think he got nervous when the joke didn't land and he was just trying to like vamp?
Yeah, I think he was just kind of a little bit, probably nerves and also probably just, I don't know. I think sometimes performers that there's like this authenticity that people do like. And like we said earlier, like peeking like behind like the wink, wink. So I do think he was nervous probably, but it could be a little bit of that. Just being like, hey, like I'm out of my element. This is not Kung Fu. I'm telling you, I'm showing you who I am. Because like you said before, which is right, the monologue is really to get the people in the audience and the people at home watching like comfortable with the host and feel like, hey, I like him, I like her. So I think you're trying to do that a little bit too. Passing
the blame. He's like, I'm just reading the cue card.
Yeah, don't blame me.
That joke sucked, but don't blame me.
That's why I didn't open. I went with the grasshopper. I was going to use that line, but I'm like, we might lose some listeners if I use that one. So
Yeah, and then we get a song and dance type thing from David. Seemingly, this is against type, which I found interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I thought, talk about, coming. It's like we're both sports fans. This is a comeback for me in this monologue where it starts off rough. It's struggling. The joke doesn't land. He says, "I'm just reading the cue cards," and it's like, where are we going? And then we start seeing him pull out the sand out the pockets, and he tap dances pretty well. He's got some good feet. And then I was thinking, okay, they're listening to us. They're learning. Charlie Rocket, even though he's not my favorite cast member, he comes out and starts, this is a comedy show. And I like David just using that kung fu, giving him the kick.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Charlie.
I got a little annoyed when Charlie came out. I was like, oh, he's going to interrupt kind of something that I was into. But then, David kicking Charles and continuing the song. I was like, okay, that worked for me. Yeah.
I thought he pulled. I was impressed with like you're sinking, then you rise up and like, okay, that was pretty good. So
yeah,
I liked it.
A nice string of like pretty solid monologues.
We have
here from Ellen Burstyn to Jamie Lee Curtis to now.
Yes, I totally agree. Like this one was maybe the most interesting because it was starting off pretty rough, and I'm like, here we go.
Yeah. So the first sketch that we have, Gun City.
Ho, ho, ho! Thinking of what to get your loved ones for Christmas? Why not give the gift that keeps you living? A gun from Gun City! To the first lady of the house, get one of these teeny-weeny guns. Order now and we'll throw in this designer Gucci holster. For the teens, we've got a whole slew of Saturday night specials.
So Joe Piscopo, he's pitching guns from Gun City as Christmas gifts. So I think Joe is a very good pitch man. So I think he needs to be the Dan Aykroyd in that scenario. Joe needs to be the pitch man. He has the gift of gab, and he's like, we see that on Weekend Update when he does his sports. He can just kind of string together rapid speaking right away. So I liked his energy. Very great pitch man. I don't know. I think I know what they were going for here, but I don't know if it totally landed with the satire of guns as gifts. What do you think?
I kind of got it. I liked it. I think, like you said, he was doing that like Dan Aykroyd kind of impression. He is good at that. And I do think playing off of just what the purchases of guns went up in the 70s. Like people were crime. So like people were looking at guns like as a gift and stuff like that, or a gun. Everyone needed to have a gun, especially in like New York City. And it's like, that's the most dangerous place in the world that they were saying back then. So I thought like it kind of fit with like the mentality. And so I kind of liked it. I thought some of the jokes he had describing the guns were funny. So I thought he did a pretty good job here. I enjoyed this for the first sketch of the night.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was my 2026 brain at work, like trying to pick up satire where there wasn't. But I do think that that's what they were going for. Especially they were like passing bits when he said, "Oh, we don't care about your past." I think that was kind of a sharp kind of like, anybody could get a gun. We don't care. We're not going to do a background check. So
exactly.
But I didn't know if I was just watching it through the current lens of gun control talk, but I think that's what they were going for, and if they were, I appreciated the satire.
I feel like they were, and I feel like this was a time they've really struggled with social commentary and like really missing the mark in this season. This was a time where I feel like they did a good job. I won't say it was like perfect. I can understand where you're coming from on like, but like looking at the times, I think they did a good job with it. Like at least it wasn't like, I don't know where you stand, and are you trying to tell me more people should not have background checks and should have guns? With some of the other social critics, I'm like, I don't know if you're pro this or against this, and I'm kind of nervous. Right. So I thought Joe did a good job here, though.
Yeah, I ultimately agree. And I think Mason Williams, the head writer, would be proud, and this would be Mason Williams' last episode.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As head writer, so he got maybe something that he would be proud of on his way out.
Knowing what happened in the second episode, and then we'll probably talk about the host a little bit later, it makes sense that this was his last episode.
Yeah. So
someone had to pay.
Mason Williams is not long for SNL season 6.
Someone had to pay.
Yeah, for sure. Next sketch is taking place in a men's wear store. We have Eddie Murphy as a salesperson at the store, and David Carradine reprising his Kane character from Kung Fu. Not going to be the first time he does that tonight. Which
No.
is kind of...
Check it out, man. When's payday?
What is payday?
You know, payday for work. Oh, I guess that you a player.
Yes, I am the archer and the target, the pitcher and the catcher, the spectator in the stands. Sometimes I sell the hot dogs.
Well, look, my man, if you gonna play, you got...
The pacing of this was really weird to me. The crowd seemed to be loving it, and I thought it was okay, but it was just kind of weirdly paced. And I attribute that. I'm going to attribute this to David Carradine, actually.
Yeah. It could, if David would have been better, it would have been really good. It's a good sketch because it's just Eddie. Eddie can just make you laugh doing anything, and he's kind of giving you a highlight of like a Velvet Jones character that we would see in the upcoming seasons. But Eddie, he made this work despite David being off with the time. If David's timing was on, this could have been a great sketch because the premise is hilarious, I think. But it's just the fact that David just seemed a little bit off, and Eddie you could feel like Eddie being a young performer here, kind of like seeing that the beats are off, and then he's trying to like make up for it. And I'm like, if this was a veteran Eddie, I think he would really make it like seamless. But he's still young and performing here. But just because he's Eddie Murphy, he makes it work just with his interactions with David. Yeah,
Eddie Murphy made this work. I thought Kane's interaction with Master Po was pretty funny when Master Po said, "A man of the spirit wears not the clothes of a pimp."
Yes.
I thought like lines like that were Gilbert in makeup playing Master Po.
Did a good job.
Yeah, I thought
this
so.
This was a very good job by Gilbert. And I think that was the best part. Well, Eddie had some lines even before there, but I thought Eddie not seeing that Kane's talking to Master Po, and Eddie just saying, all the different lines, as I said earlier, I ain't call you no grasshopper. Like, it just cracked me up, like, really good.
Yeah, messy, very messy ending with David/Kane destroying the store, like in slow motion. He was like kicking and chopping, and I thought it was okay overall, but David was just kind of a mess in this sketch, and there's a reason for that, Deremy.
Yeah, I think David kind of hit the sauce a little bit there.
He was basically hammered this episode.
Yeah,
he was very drunk.
Very drunk. So I think he did his best Chris Christopherson kind of impression here, and said, "You know what? I'm live. Let's go out with a bang." And he really did that. And it kind of seems like from the monologue to this sketch, there's like he didn't seem as bad doing the monologue.
No, I don't think so. He seemed maybe the sauce started hitting him like in the middle of this sketch.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because it's like something kind of just went different here, and I'm like, okay, like you didn't see that like a few minutes earlier, but yeah, you're right. This episode's known for what David did off stage.
Yeah, for sure. And David wasn't in the next sketch. Maybe they were just like trying to give us a coffee or do something, I don't know, while the next sketch was happening, which was Vicky and Debbie. They're back.
Yeah.
And they're hanging out at the mall. So I think they seem to be figuring out the best settings for the Vicky/Debbie sketches after that weird Elliot Gould date one. I think they're trying to figure it out. They were in Planned Parenthood the second time, and now they're at the mall. Of course, you're going to put Vicky and Debbie at the mall, and they're there to meet a couple of guys, Deremy, played by Joe and Charles.
So, what's happening?
Well, we just been going around, shopping and some junk, and watching all the weirdos who come to the mall. Like this guy we saw at McDonald's.
This is a sketch that I've seen on like highlight packages and different lines. So, definitely some like my favorite Vicky lines come from this sketch. So she was great. Charles being that cocky jock, I'm like, man, if there's a character that he should play, it's that. Being very pompous and cocky. That's Charlie Rocket. Oh, yeah. So it kind of fit him. But I thought this sketch, their chemistry is just really awesome as Vicky and Debbie. And they, I like Denny being the straight person really for Gail and for that Vicky And they both do a great job of playing. Just really great chemistry between Denny and Gail.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah, before Joe and Eddie settled in, Gail and Danny were the dynamic duo.
Absolutely.
And I didn't expect that. I didn't know that they had such great chemistry before I started watching these episodes, but it's really sticking out.
And it's like, it's really good. I don't know. I don't want to overhype it, and we still have plenty of episodes left, but it's really good. Like, they're a really good duo. I really enjoy watching them on screen. I get excited seeing those two together.
Yeah. And I like the way the Vicky character was depicted more in this sketch, because I think I found her, even though I enjoyed the first couple, I found her to be maybe a little robotic and not like maybe in the present moment. It seemed like maybe Vicky was waiting for the other person to stop talking, and then she would just kind of go in on it.
I can see that.
I think they humanized her a little bit more here, because she and Debbie, they were both nervous around the guys. So to see Vicky not be as robotic and be kind of nervous around them humanized her a little bit. So I really liked that. I think all of this worked. It was really charming to me.
I think that's a great point you made. I think, Vicky, she had funny lines and there was funny delivery by Gail, but those first couple, it almost felt like there wasn't a conversation.
Yeah.
Between whoever she's interacting with, but she just said some funny things. And I think that's a great point. You're right. She was in the moment. It was a conversation. She was responding to the other people in the sketch very well. So I didn't think about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so thumbs up, Vicky. Great character. Denny and Gail. Yeah, we're very positive on this. So
absolutely.
Next, we have the Rocket Report. That's Charles Rocket. He opens his report wondering what Santa is up to right now.
I'll bet he's up at the North Pole reading all the children's letters, furiously trying to decide how many toys he can build and how much time it's going to take him. The elves are all pitching in. Mrs. Claus is baking cookies in the Claus home, and all the elves are running in out of the cold to get some cookies and some warm soup. And
as we're celebrating Christmas in New York, and it cuts to Santa. It's Charles dressed as Santa, who's drunk, stumbling around the streets of New York, while Charles is still talking in the background. So it's a juxtaposition, basically, of Charles talking about, he's kind of romanticizing Christmas, and it's more so the feel-good Christmas mixed with a drunk Santa just kind of stumbling around New York City. I don't know, Deremy. This worked for me. I think the Rocket Report's kind of working for me a little bit, and this one I was amused by this.
I liked it. I would say, I guess this is me complimenting Charlie here. That's been the only thing I've really liked by him so far this season. This is going to sound bad, but it's not. I think this was the worst of the Rocket Reports I've seen, but it's still funny.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a credit to how good this segment has been, where the other ones cracked me up even more. But I did like it, and it's kind of like almost, for the first time I'm saying it, I like Charlie being behind, like hearing his voiceover. That was cracking me up more. And I'm almost like, I wish I had more. I almost wish I could see Charlie interacting and someone else being in the Santa suit.
Okay.
Like, I wish I got more of Charlie, actually, like, in this. Because my favorites weren't the Santa. It was Charlie giving that commentary. Just he does the Chevy. I keep saying it. This is where, like, I could see the Chevy connection when he does these Rocket Reports.
Yeah, I really liked his voiceover, kind of the, not narration, but just his voiceover in the background. Opposite what was happening. It did make me laugh. You see it's the Santa doing things like rummaging through the garbage. He took a hit off someone's joint.
Yes.
And that was quick, and I'm surprised that passed standards and practices.
I don't know what passes for this season 6. They're letting some things go that I'm like, oh, really? And then the other things that they're taking off that I'm like, I don't understand why this is a problem. So I'm really confused on what standards and practices, like what their like mark is this season, because I was surprised, like him doing blow and stuff. I'm like, oh, you're letting Santa do blow here? Like, okay, like, what? I'm just saying, Thomas, what are the rules, man? What are the rules?
Exactly. I think the Rocket Reports I'm mostly positive about. Like, I think most of these are working for me.
Yeah, this is by far. Charles. Yeah, this is his best gimmick right now so far.
And then we get back to a live sketch. David Carradine is back. He's playing Woody Guthrie, who's in a hospital, being visited by Bob Dylan, played by Patrick Weathers.
Gee, Woody, I didn't mean to upset your nurse none.
Oh, that's just like a woman, kid. But don't think twice. It's all right. What are you doing, writing a book?
Don't mind me, Woody. Just keep on talking.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm just blowing in the wind these days. Hell, I feel like I'm a knocking on heaven's door.
I only knew about the Guthrie-Dylan relationship and Dylan visiting Woody Guthrie in the hospital because of the Chalamet movie recently, and I guess this was more widely known. And I found out later that David Carradine played Woody Guthrie in a biopic.
Yeah.
So this is kind of where that comes from.
Patrick Weathers.
Yeah.
Loved him. He
Yeah,
nailed
he was
it,
great.
Bob Dylan. Nailed it, Bob Dylan. And I think Woody Guthrie isn't my favorite. I think David did okay with that, but he got the persona. And I thought the lines he was giving, like where they're talking about their songs and then they're bringing up like the Rolling Stones and Satisfaction and Ray Charles. Like, I thought he was hilarious. I honestly can say I love this sketch. It was great to me.
No, it was really good. And the premise is kind of like that Bob Dylan stole what Woody Guthrie was saying and used it to write like a Rolling Stone. And then because he had a pen and paper out and Woody Guthrie's like, you writing a book? And he's like, I'm just kind of, he's really just kind of stealing lines for what would become like a Rolling Stone. And then we find out that Mick Jagger and Ray Charles evidently stole from Woody Guthrie as well when they chatted with him. So I think this is actually a very, I would find out after the fact. I had never seen this sketch, but I guess this was a very beloved sketch from this season. This is like one of the more beloved sketches from season 6.
Yeah. Not the most known, like obviously Vicky is like a recurring character, but for like an individual sketch, this definitely is one of the few positives that in SNL lore that season 6 had. I thought it'd be longer because I was with you. I had heard people talk about this sketch. It was surprisingly shorter than I thought. It still worked for me from the jump. Once Patrick came in and I heard that Dylan impression, I'm like, okay, he's nailing it. Yeah. He's doing his thing. So I was hooked from there and I was impressed.
I wonder if Patrick came to the show with the Dylan impression. Like that's something that he's like, yeah, I can do Bob Dylan, or if they just asked Patrick to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because they wanted to do a Woody Guthrie kind of thing, and Patrick just said, I think I can do a Bob Dylan. But he nailed it. I bet this is like Patrick's crowning achievement of this season.
Probably. This is like how he's known. He's doing great Dylan, but I don't know with this new cast and new writers, because to me it's like if he had this, why not use this earlier on? Really, if he could do this. So maybe they did just ask him and he just stood up to the plate and nailed it. But I really enjoyed him.
Yeah. So very good, beloved sketch, and I think it hit right here, Dylan and Guthrie. And then we have the home version of Dallas next. So Joe, Gail, and Denny are in this, and Charles Rocket plays the pitchman.
A typical evening at home, not much fun, is it? But not anymore. You've seen the TV show. Now you can play the home version of Dallas. You'll get hats, booze, wigs, and a cheap handgun. Everything you need to play Dallas at home.
I think Joe, Gail, and Denny are really good in this, and I think it's a pretty good idea. So basically, it's the home version of the popular television show Dallas, and it's if real-life arguments and drama are going to happen, why not dress up as Dallas characters while doing it? So I dug the premise, and I think Joe, Gail, and Denny really put their all into it, and it worked for me. I'm saying this a lot, but this sketch worked for me.
It did for me as well. I thought I think Denny made it really with the wigs and stuff. Like Denny, I would always pop when I saw her changing into that Charlene Tilton wig, which she would be a future host this season.
True. Yeah.
Which is funny, but I am surprised too, and I guess me being a wannabe TV historian, knowing just how Dallas was really like everywhere in 1980 and who shot JR. So I wonder if like younger people who don't know that maybe like what, but if you aren't sure, like Dallas was like the top show in 1980, and it was a phenomenon about everyone was talking about who shot JR and all these different things. So for me, that helps. Maybe if you don't know that, it could be a little bit like what, but I thought, I'm with you. It worked for me. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. It was very funny. And I think they did a decent job of revealing what the sketch was about, kind of like they kind of in pieces. I think they kind of subtly because I was sitting there going like, oh, is it just going to be like a board game and it's a Dallas or whatever? And it's like, no, like we're taking your real arguments and adding some Dallas flavor to them. Like, okay, that's really good. So, and we'll see. There's a way more infamous Dallas parody or reference in this season, of course, that we'll see later on.
Oh, absolutely.
So they're not afraid to talk about who shot JR in Dallas, as we will see in a few episodes here.
Yeah, for sure. Probably what this season's most known for.
Yeah, probably. Next, we have something that caught me off guard. I was not expecting this, and it's Mr. Bill, a famous segment created by Walter Williams. We saw a lot of Mr. Bill in the original 5 seasons. Very surprised that we're getting a Mr. Bill in this era, Deremy. Did you know that Mr. Bill would pop up here?
No, I'm glad. I was going to ask you. Like, I was shocked because I'm like, I never even remember reading online or hearing other big SNL like historians talk about Mr. Bill in a non-Lorne season. I didn't know that happened. So I was kind of like, I'm not just saying it. I did like a double take. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not. I'm like, did I hit the wrong episode? Did it skip? Because I'm like, this Mr. Bill, and I never heard that being mentioned. So I was stunned, and like in a good way. I was shocked that like Mr. Bill is in a non-Lorne season, and it's good to see Mr. Bill, honestly.
Okay, so you like Mr. Bill. I was going to ask you, because we've never really talked. We've talked a lot of SNL, but Mr. Bill's never come up.
Yeah, but it's not my favorite, but I like Mr. Bill. I like the premise, and I think it's... Some people love Mr. Bill. I don't love Mr. Bill, but I do like the sketches with Mr. Bill in them.
Yeah, I got to say, I'm always kind of resistant to every Mr. Bill segment when I start watching them, and they always win me over just a little bit more than I like to admit.
Yes, I think that's a great way to put it. That's the perfect way to put it.
By the end, I'm like, I don't know, Mr. Bill, it's the same joke. The voice is kind of irritating, but then by the end, I'm like, I don't know, I kind of actually liked watching that.
Yeah. They always kind of start off like, this is dumb, but then like they'll do something like the way they and like that reaction and that voice. Oh no! Like it just kind of cracks me up. Like, and I'm like, all right. That's why I don't say I love them, but I'm like, I gotta admit, I guess I do like
it. It wins me over more. More than I always think. And this is your standard fare of like torturing Mr. Bill.
But Billy, you make such a great looking ornament.
No, Mr. Hands, leave me alone.
There, isn't that nice?
No, I don't like it.
Okay, now I'll light the tree.
It's a Christmas, so it's like a Mr. Bill's Christmas special. I think if you like Mr. Bill, you'll like this. I did read on One SNL a Day that this actually got cut from the Ted Knight Christmas episode from season 5. So Walter Williams was told that they would air it now. And I have a feeling Walter Williams got a hold of Gene or whoever he had to get a hold of and was like, hey, I was told that this was going to air because it didn't air last season. I don't care if it's new leadership. You're airing my Mr. Bill Christmas show.
Yeah, right on for Walter. And I got that backstory after watching it.
Yeah, me
so
too.
It makes sense then why it was on here, because that kind of equaled like, okay, that's why. But yeah, it was still a good surprise, but I don't blame Walter Williams. Like, you're going to air my piece.
Yeah, this season, if nothing else, it's been full of surprises. And most of them pleasant surprises, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, so next we have another Kane character. So this is the second sketch where David reprises his Kane character from Kung Fu. And Deremy, Bruce Lee is back, but this time he's black.
Yeah.
Of course, it's Eddie Murphy as Bruce Lee here.
The greatest Kung Fu fighter of the 19th century is back. Kane. This time he's joined forces with the 20th century master of martial arts. Bruce Lee is back, but this time he's black.
What I can say, about the sketch, it was kind of like it could have landed, but it didn't for me. It wasn't bad, but it was like, the premise, it could have been funnier, but it was just okay. But I am surprised just they are really using Eddie a lot more so early on in the season than I thought they did. Like, I really kind of thought he's like just like a little part of season 6. I'm seeing like he's pretty much, even if he's not a regular cast member by title, he's already, in my opinion, like a regular cast member right now. That was like a pleasant surprise. But the sketch itself, I thought David was weak.
Yeah.
And then I thought, Eddie did have some funny like moments. Like the premise of seeing Eddie look like Bruce Lee is funny, but it didn't really have anything else for me personally.
Yeah, David's still feeling good. He's probably had a couple more drinks.
Yeah.
By the time this sketch came up, so he's probably feeling nice and warm and fuzzy. And
I'm kind of like
hammered.
Yeah. Gene, I'm like, Gene, you were there in those first 5 years. I'm like, not that everybody's an adult, so you can't technically stop people, but it's like you got to have someone watching the host here. Like, you can't let them.
Yeah.
Like, especially it's live TV. Like here, it's like, okay, he's sauced.
Yeah, for sure.
He's sauced.
And there was nothing much to this sketch either. To me, it's like the definition of an unfinished idea that probably shouldn't have made the live show, especially since you already have the Kane character pop up elsewhere. I couldn't get a really even good feel for it because just nothing much happened, and then all of a sudden it was over. So it might be for the best. I don't know.
Probably. I could see it maybe ending quicker. I wouldn't be surprised if they saw how David was and did like an audible to be like, let's just wrap this up. Like,
yeah, we got to get this short.
Yeah, let's just wrap it up.
He's going to take this off the rails. Yeah. And then it dawned on me, it should have been obvious, but it dawned on me why we hadn't seen Gilbert basically all night, because he had to stay in that makeup.
Yeah.
So he couldn't appear in anything else because he appeared again as Master
Poe.
Master Poe. So Gilbert appeared again as Master Poe, and he just couldn't take that makeup off. So I don't know. Maybe that's for the best that Gilbert was relegated to Master Poe, and we didn't see him.
I'm glad you said it. I was thinking it. I'm like, this kind of worked out for the best. There's a little bit of Gilbert.
Everybody wins.
Yes.
Yeah. So weekend update is here with Charlie Rocket. I'm not even gonna really spend any time on Charles Rocket as an anchor. I think I've said my piece. I don't enjoy it. So unless you have anything to say, I kind of want to focus on just like the update pieces because we know what we're getting with Charlie at this point.
I wish for the listeners, I wish we could say something different, but it's the same song and dance.
Until he surprises me and gets really good, then I'll spend more time on him.
Yeah. Otherwise, next.
And so our first update piece was Ann Risley as herself sharing holiday do's and don'ts.
Let's start with how to fill the traditional stocking. Fresh meat is never appropriate. It gets fuzzy when it sticks to the felt. But lard wrapped in plastic bags is a reasonable substitute.
On paper, Deremy, this should have worked for me more than it did. Because there was a running joke about wrapping lard in plastic bags that was okay. There was a dark turn juxtaposed with Ann's straight demeanor. That was a decent concept. But I don't know. Anne just didn't do well here, I don't think.
Yeah, I think in our previous episode we talked about Anne being put in not the best positions. And sometimes you can't totally fully blame her that writers didn't give her the best material. Mm-hmm. Not this case. This was her. Yeah. She dropped the ball. I hate to say it, but like you said, the line, it could have, and I hate to compare, and that's what they were going through in the moment. But to me, Jane Curtin would have nailed this. She would have gotten this down pat. And I feel like they were kind of giving you a Jane Curtin kind of feel with her, but it just
didn't Gilda. Work. I think some Gilda energy might have been really good for this too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it's just they did set her up with good material. She just didn't deliver it.
Yeah, it's just I don't think she was committed enough to the bit.
I agree.
I think there was something that was holding her back a little bit. She could have just gone for it a little bit more, still kept that straight demeanor, because you do need, more of a straight demeanor, given it kind of turned a somewhat dark there in the middle. But I don't think she was committed enough. I think she was kind of held back. I don't know if she didn't believe in the material or if she was. I don't think she's the type to get nervous. It seems like she's a seasoned performer, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe it's the fact, I'm trying to think, and I'll have to put you on the spot or myself, but how many times she's been on Update this season? I don't know if was this her first time, or have we seen her before, maybe?
She did.
Maybe one time before?
Yeah, maybe one time before. Didn't she do a on-location reporter kind of thing?
I think, yeah, which is different.
Yeah.
So I think maybe, like we say, the Update pieces, they're a different beat than a regular sketch or than the monologue or cold open. So there's a different kind of beat you have to have. The timing for an update piece. So maybe I still look at her, but maybe it's just not being comfortable being at the desk for update yet. Like she hadn't really done it before. So that's why you kind of get like, maybe she's just nervous or like she's stiff kind of with it.
Yeah. She was holding back.
I hate to say that I'm not a comedian or a performer like that, but I'm kind of surprised that they're missing the mark where I feel like the weekend update, like the idea is pretty simple. Like, you know what I mean? It's pretty simple.
Kind of is, yeah, really.
Yeah, like it's a fake news person. So like you're delivering something even straight, but like it's outrageous. But I feel like they're really not getting the concept here.
No.
Which surprises me.
Something that did win me over though was Joe Piscopo with Saturday Night Sports. He keeps doing that for me for the most part. So this report is centered on NBC broadcasting a football game with no announcers.
They just put statistics on the screen with no announcers. You like that, huh? Don Ohlmeyer, executive producer, NBC Sports. No announcers, just statistics.
Was that something real that happened?
No, that really happened.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a classic game in NFL history.
Okay.
The no announcer game. Yeah, that really it did not work in my opinion. Like, and I'm pretty sure it got blasted then too. But
yeah, you know what's funny is I know so many people who complain about every announcer, and I've always told them the game would be so weird watching on TV if there were no announcers. I promise you don't want that.
It'd be rough. It'd be hard to stomach, honestly.
Yeah, it's not like being in an arena and watching a game with no announcers. Like, you need something happening.
Yeah,
than just the game. Yeah,
and it was interesting because it was Don Ohlmeyer's idea to do the announcer list game, and we know he would have a part years later in SNL lore with Norm, so it's kind of like a funny, like, he gets mentioned here.
Yeah.
And I forgot he was with NBC. I forgot NBC was the network that tried the announcer list game. I didn't know if it was CBS or NBC, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny that Don Ohlmeyer does get name checked. So Joe says, "You like that, Don Ohlmeyer? No announcers, just statistics?" And then Joe's statistics proceed to flash on the screen.
Hilarious.
Under his name. I love the one where it showed his pay, Joe Piscopo's pay relative to Kurt Gowdy and Howard Cosell. So it's just showing all these. It's a very obviously visual joke. And Joe's just sitting there. And I love the look on his face. He's just sitting there kind of stone-faced, just looking at the camera while his statistics pop up. And I just think, to me, it was beautiful. I love that they just... That he kind of went at NBC a little bit, and Don Ohlmeyer specifically, and the whole bit, like, it was very short, but to me it was very good.
Oh, it's something to me, like, I thought it was brilliant, and this is something I would expect the original cast, the first 5 years, to do something like this and nail it. So I was kind of this is one of the more impressive pieces by like the writers, because this was like you said, it took a shot at NBC, but it was subtle, wasn't harsh, but it was like subtle enough, but you still get it. And it was making fun of the network, and also Joe did a great job with his performance and kind of playing off of like, hey, you think not having an announcer would work? And so he kind of showed, he did his own like Charlie Chaplin kind of impression.
Yeah.
And he did a great job of it.
Yeah, very well conceived bit. So kudos to the writers and Joe and everybody behind this. That was awesome. So we have a musical performance tonight, and we get a medley of songs from the Pirates of Penzance. It's an almost 7-minute medley. This is from Gilbert and Sullivan's 1879 comic opera, The Pirates of Penzance.
I'm very well acquainted too with matters mathematical. I understand equations both simple and quadratical. About binomials theorem, I'm teeming with a lot of news. Got it. With many cheerful facts about the square of the hypotenuse.
I got excited because David Carradine mentioned Linda Ronstadt's name, so my interest peaked a little bit when he mentioned who was going to be performing. So he said Linda Ronstadt and Rex Smith and George Rose were like the main performers. And Deremy, I enjoyed this. I was really impressed by this, honestly.
I thought it was really cool. It's something you don't get as much now, but like you like that in like the 70s and like in the 80s of SNL, you got something different. Yeah. I feel really crazy, but I don't know why. Watching this, it kind of almost gave me a thought about when season 11, Francis Ford Coppola hosting, and how like that was such a unique concept for SNL. I know this is different, but I kind of gave me that vibe of like, this is so different. It's like theater and like coming to SNL, coming to television. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
No, that's a good comparison because I think really it gets to the heart of something that I actually really like. I love the idea of like a disruption of format from time to time. Like you don't always need to like go be totally strict. You need to be strict on timing, but you can play with format a little bit. So I like that this was a little bit of a disruption to like the normal format. I was impressed by the wordsmithing by George Rose as the Major General. That was like genuinely impressive to me. Obviously trained actor, he worked on that. I think Rex Smith and Linda Ronstadt were very impressive as singers. This whole thing, it like made me I'm like, I would see the Pirates of Penzance like on Broadway if I had the chance. And this was a preview because it had a Broadway run in 1981. So they were kind of like basically giving a sneak preview of the Broadway run, and Kevin Kline was in the Broadway run. He wasn't on here, but I read that Kevin Kline was in it too. Just a lot of interesting like behind the scenes with this performance. I think.
Yeah, I thought it was smart to do that, but also it still showed. It's weird because obviously you hear it now all the time, like every week, live from New York, but it's not a New York show, if that makes sense. It's like for the country, for everybody, which makes it's an institution. But this was an example of those early years. Yes, the country was obsessed with SNL, but it was still like a New York show.
Yeah.
And like they wouldn't do that nowadays, like, you know, for just a Broadway show to kind of come on here and get like this publicity on SNL to perform. That wouldn't happen now, but it was cool to see that back in 1980.
I would welcome it if it happened now. I think it'd be really cool.
I agree.
If it happened now, like every great now and then. Hey, why not have a little 7-minute medley of a Broadway show that's running? I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, and I know like it's because it's such a big show. It gets scrutinized for every little thing. But I'm with you. I like how you phrased that. Like break the format. It doesn't have to be all the time, but I think certain fans like yourself and me, even if they break the format and it doesn't work, I'm going to give you A for effort or A for trying. Now whatever you try, I may not give an A if it's not, I don't think it's as good, but I do want to see that sometimes more than what you get now in SNL, I feel.
Yeah, so great idea. I mean, especially following Aretha Franklin and James Brown, it's like, what could you do to top just like, and I don't think they did this on purpose, but it's just like how it worked out was instead of having to follow Aretha and James Brown with like another musical guest, just go off in a different direction entirely, and it worked.
Yeah. How much do you think of this is just like Gene's influence? 'Cause I'm trying to look at stuff that's like Gene's influence.
Yeah, if she was a Broadway fan, if she is a fan of musicals and operas and stuff, definitely. I think she probably had to green light it, so at the very least. But
so do you think if this was 1978 or 79, do you think Lorne would have had the Pirates?
I think he would have maybe had more of a problem putting it on. So it could be like this happened because it was Gene in charge.
Yeah.
Which you know, great job by you, Gene.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Next sketch, we have something that I think could be a high wire act, and it could really go south if it's not done correctly. Like if they did it like the Commie Hunters, like the Malcolm McDowell episode, it would have gone completely south. But I actually think this straddled the line, and I don't think it went south. I think they kind of like did a good job. I think it was with this, and it could have gone really bad, but I kind of think they made it connect because of who they were making fun of, Deremy.
Yes, I think they did do a good job of the premise and getting that. Like you said, we understood what they were poking fun, and they weren't punching down.
And I will say I should set it up for the listener. So the premise is that Charles, Gail, Ann, and Joe, they're playing rich socialites, basically, who decide to do heroin in Harlem instead of in a more upscale setting. And so they're basically like tourists who are want to experience like heroin and doing it authentically and quote unquote probably like in the ghetto in Harlem or whatever. And that could have gone really south, but you know, I do think that they were pretty delicate in who the target of the satire and joke was.
Isn't this place the most?
Well, it does have a certain charm.
Well, I figure if we're going to do heroin, we might as well do it up right. I mean, after all, everybody's doing it at all the chic parties. And...
But we're doing it in Harlem.
Especially the stigma that still goes today, but even more so back then, about everybody was doing drugs, but if you... based on the way you looked, based on your social economic status, where you lived, if you were poor, people of color, lived in not the greatest neighborhoods, you were like, oh, the worst of the worst, where here it's like pretty much just better quality, wink, wink, but people who were living like famous and had money were doing drugs too, but they weren't, it's fun when we do it. So I think, like I said earlier, like, with jokes like this, you got to make sure you're not punching down. And it was clear here that they weren't punching down. Yeah. But part of me thinks that's the big... I don't think there were any black writers on the staff. But Eddie had a piece. Like, I feel like Eddie already, especially if this was Barry or David writing this, he has started to form a partnership with them. And to me, I feel like this sketch done with the original cast wouldn't have worked. Like, if they had Garrett being what Eddie was, they would have missed the mark on it. But I think Eddie being hip to stuff and Eddie being a force of nature in his own way already was able to help make this work.
Yeah, I liked a lot of the beats of this. Like, Anne asks if it's 100% pure heroin because she doesn't want to put anything unnatural in her body. And they think it's this novel. Like, Charles is taking pictures of things that are happening. Like, Eddie comes out as a heroin dealer. He threatens Anne, like puts a knife to her throat, and the Charles, instead of them freaking out, he's like, oh, what an authentic experience, and he's taking a picture of it. So I thought all of that worked. It turns out Eddie is actually an undercover cop. And I love the line he says, I'm sick and tired of you junkies coming up and giving Harlem a bad name. You should have stayed on Park Avenue where you belong. Like, Eddie saying that as the cop after he reveals that he's an undercover cop is just like, I think that's great commentary, and they're just making fun of, like, I think it's really good commentary about like privilege and status and
absolutely
all this stuff. Like, I was surprised. I was kind of, when we get premises like this, especially after that Malcolm McDowell episode, I'm always kind of on edge, but I was really surprised.
I'm surprised, especially we know this is the benefit of being able to look back on this in 2026, but Reagan is elected. He's not sworn in yet, but we know what would come with drugs in the 80s, with the Just Say No. So this, to me, I was impressed with being kind of ahead of its time in a way, and it kind of sadly a foreshadowing of what we were going to get throughout the decade of the 80s, big time. Yeah. So I was very impressed with the writers with this.
Really smart.
Yeah, very smart.
Yeah, really smart. So thumbs up to that one. We get a pre-tape next, and it's Matthew Lawrence playing an NBC executive, and they're on a worldwide search for a virgin to be on SNL.
Miss Deborah Lynn Faulkner?
I sure am.
I'm with the NBC company, and I'm empowered to offer you a contract with Saturday Night Live. Are you a fan of the show?
I sure am.
Terrific, great. There's just one thing. You are a virgin, aren't you?
I sure. Wait.
To me, it was interesting because they went to 4 different places. They went to, quote unquote, Anytown, USA. They went to Paris. They went to Rome at a convent. And then they went to Los Angeles. And I thought it was interesting an idea to cast Gail as the girl in every scene. And I was like, why are they doing that? But then it made sense by the end. It all came together. And the twist really worked, Deremy. Like,
oh, it was awesome.
I thought this was so good. So they find out, they end up striking out. Like, they think they found virgins in the first 3 stops, and it turns out that they weren't. And then they go to LA. They're at this bar. They're like, we haven't found one yet. We're never going to find a virgin. They just don't exist. And then in comes a punk rock girl in LA who says that she's a virgin. She's straight edge. She's saving herself for Carl Sagan. But the twist is this is actually Gail Matthius and how she got cast. I love it.
It's so great. Gail just really just killed. We have a long way to go. But I'm just like, what did Dick Ebersol and that new regime not see with her? Because this is like a brilliant sketch, and she like makes it. Like, this is her. I mean, her as the nun and losing her virginity to Father, Guido. I cracked up at that. I'm like, that's a good, good little reference point. I thought it was just brilliant here. And like you said, it had a really good twist. And I like the film. Like, I never thought I would say this in 2026. I'm becoming like a huge Gail fan here. I'm like, I need to find her more.
Truthers.
Yeah, we're like her John the Baptist here. We're going to spread the word. You guys don't know what you were missing. I thought this was awesome.
Yeah, Gail's moving up in my all-time cast rankings. Not top 10 or anything, but she has something to say about some of these cast rankings that people do, honestly.
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan, and I'm just like, this stuff, because I look at a lot of old school SNL bits, and I'm like, what would work in today? I think a lot of the things that she does in particular, but minus maybe Eddie, I'm like, people today, Gen Zers in 2026, would get a kick out of Gail and what she's doing on the show. This was awesome.
Yeah, and I like that they used Gail for every person in every city, because I think by the time you got to LA, so if they had used a different person for each of those, I mean, maybe by the time you got to LA, the twist would have revealed itself earlier. But since it was Gail each time, you're just like, oh, it's just Gail as a different character here. So when they sell you it's actually Gail, it's like, okay. So I think you're caught off guard more by the fact that that was the fourth time you saw Gail in this.
Absolutely. No, you're right. I think if one is Gail, one is Denny, one is Ann, and then the last one's back to Gail, it's not as good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it still couldn't have. It'd be funny if they nail, and also could Ann and Denny nail the beats of each one the way Gail did too.
Right.
So I'm thinking it was a smart choice to have Gail be in all of them. And you're totally right. The twist would die out a little bit if you didn't have her do it all.
Yeah. So Virgin Search, a hidden gem of a pre-tape. Next we have it's a fake ad. It's called Dopenhagen and Happy Days.
So when you want something that smokes, hey, get yourself a wood stove. When you want real enjoyment without smoking, well, try Dopenhagen. And just for those of you who are just starting out, sort of beginners, we got this Happy Days here.
I think it's supposed to be an ad for smokeless marijuana. For some reason, they couldn't make it obvious. See, this is what's confusing me. They were able to show snorting cocaine and Santa taking a hit off a joint, but then they can't make it obvious that this is for smokeless marijuana. And it just, to me, it didn't land because it seemed like they were just doing an ad for smokeless tobacco, but then they just put the twist as the names on it. And I don't know if it was the fault of the writers or the fault of they were told by standards that they couldn't. But whatever the reason, to me, this just didn't land like it could.
I'm glad you said it that way, because I think people could watch this at first glance, and especially if you know what David was, under the influence of, you could blame David. I don't blame David for this one. I blame the writers for how this came about. And I you're right, probably maybe standards and practices have a part in this too, for the blame, because like I said earlier, tell me the rules, because I don't understand what can make it and what can't. You can say racial slurs and all the other things, and then marijuana scares you, but cocaine doesn't. I'm just what are we doing here?
Yeah, if you just looked at it, it would just be they just made it seem like it was tobacco. If it wasn't for the names, it would have been funnier if they could expand on it being smokeless marijuana. That's
right.
Right.
I don't understand, and you're totally right. I'm almost if standards and practice were so hard on you, someone should have just cut this. This should not have gotten the air.
No, totally. If standards and practice says, no, you can't make it obvious that it's marijuana, then somebody should have been well, then we're just not going to air it.
Yeah, we can't do it.
We can't do it because the whole premise falls flat. The joke, we're just not going to run it then. But maybe they didn't have that kind of oversight. Maybe they just decided to run it. So that was the fault. I will blame the show for that, is still deciding to run it if they were given the notes that they couldn't make it obvious.
There's no way, I shouldn't say no way, I wasn't there, that in dress this did well. Like, I'd be shocked. Like, if, so, like, at minimum, once you go to dress, I would say you got to cut it. Like, you tried, it didn't work. Put it on the live show is a big mistake.
Yeah, agreed. Next we have, there was 4 days prior to this episode, on December 16th, 1980, we had a big historical event happen, which was the passing of Colonel Sanders, Deremy.
It's in all the history books.
I read about it when I was in elementary school. You got to the Colonel Sanders death section.
Big chapter on it.
Yeah, absolutely, as there should be. So David Carradine, Denny Dillon, and Eddie Murphy play characters who are mourning Colonel Sanders while eating fried chicken.
Eddie's great-grandfather, grandmother discovered fried chicken.
No kidding.
It's the truth.
Sure. She was in the kitchen cooking one night, right?
Yeah.
Her son ran in the kitchen and said, Mama, the chicken is falling, right? Yeah. She said, shut your mouth or I'll whip your behind.
So they're using the same mall set from the Vicky sketch. Why not? If you have, good use of resources, just use the exact same set. It wasn't overly funny, but I thought there was pretty good chemistry between Eddie, David, and Denny. So it ended up being kind of charming. The jokes weren't there for me, but it was almost just kind of a charming kind of little scene for me.
I thought it was good. That's why David's performance as host is very split for me.
Yeah.
I liked him in it.
He probably legit had the munchies.
Yes.
So he was probably in his element. Like he probably didn't know why he had a bucket of fried chicken in front. He's like, he didn't know he was doing a sketch. He thought he was just chatting with Denny and Eddie about chicken.
Okay.
That's my working theory.
So did you think when Eddie says, give me some skin, and then he gives him the fried chicken skin, do you think that was written in, or was that David just really thinking?
That was David just being hammered. David did not know he was in a sketch right now, Deremy. David thought he was just eating some chicken with Denny and Eddie.
He was just so chill, man.
He was.
It was great.
He was almost too chill. Like, it made me wonder if he knew he was in a sketch.
Oh yeah, if you didn't know, you're like, he is really committed to this role here.
Because he's hammered and he wanted some chicken.
I tell you, this is like, it's good, but seeing Eddie and Denny, it makes me sad because I'm like, we should have had more of this throughout those 5 years that Lauren wasn't there. The fact that this is the only season, because I just don't know what people were seeing back then or what the fans were saying, because this worked with a inebriated host. This still was like okay, and I think that's the sign of great performers, is you can make something out of nothing. And how much of a nothing is this, where the guy is gone? And I'm sure when you get to this late in the show, everyone knows it. Like everyone is talking about like he's not doing well.
Yeah.
So like kudos to them.
Yeah, for sure. To me, this was charming. Like I said, I wasn't like, there were no belly laughs or anything. I just liked watching them interact with each other. It was, I don't know. It was good stuff. It was like a slice of life kind of thing in honor of Colonel Sanders passing. So,
which is, interesting. Like, that's part of the history. Cause I think people would be like, why are they doing this? But if you don't know, like,
I had to look it up, and I'm like, he really? That's when I was a kid. I thought Colonel Sanders, I didn't know he was a real person. And then, so I married an axe murderer, cleared that up for me. And then, but I had to look it up. I'm like, did he pass? And I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's like a really fresh thing.
As a former Wendy's employee for 7 years, Colonel Sanders was a start for Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's. Like, Dave Thomas was like kind of invested in KFC, he was like a high up, and he learned, Colonel Sanders mentored Dave Thomas, and that inspired Dave Thomas to start Wendy's. So I guess I owe Colonel Sanders a little something, because as a fine former employee of Wendy's for several years, I had that job. So salute to you, Colonel Sanders.
I love the fast food history lesson, and I might it's the weekend. I might go to Wendy's and get some fries and a Frosty for old time's sake and dip my fries into the Frosty.
Oh yeah, in honor of Dave.
Yes, in honor of Dave.
Yeah, I might go to KFC to honor Colonel Sanders.
Let's do it. Yeah. So next we have Mitchell Kriegman's short film, The Dancing Man. So it's a man played by actor and comedian Bill Irwin, who can't resist disco, Deremy. It looks like at the beginning of the sketch he's getting home from a night of partying, which if they just filmed it that Sunday morning, they could have cast David Carradine in this perfectly. He could have played a guy with a hangover really well.
Would have been perfect.
Would have been perfect. So they missed it by like a few days, but it was the role that David Carradine was born to play. But Bill Irwin did a really good job. So he plays a guy who comes home after a night of partying and he's just wanting to get some rest. But Shake Your Groove Thing by Peaches and Herb keeps playing.
I like this one. This is
kind of charming. I thought I was the word charming really... again, but it's kind of like this.
Yes, it's funny. It's like simple, but sometimes that's what you need. You need simple. Obviously, 1980 disco's kind of falling out of favor with a lot of people. It's not what it was like, 3, 4, 5 years ago, but it's still funny to see. And I think looking at Bill Irwin, he's the perfect kind of guy to play it because he looks like a square. And so him trying to like be like in the disco and dancing, and he's really good at like that physical, kind of like great. Michael Richards in a way to me. Like
Bill Irwin's he's a professional clown.
Yes,
he's like an actor comedian, like a professional clown. He did some stuff on Sesame Street. A lot of people might know some of his work like on Sesame Street and stuff. So he's really good at like contorting his body and just doing crazy kind of dances.
Yeah, he had like a Kramer kind of feel to him.
Yeah, I could see that.
Kramer, But I like this a lot, honestly.
Oh, it was fun. I think this was a fan favorite too. From what I've read, people who have reviewed. I don't read the reviews until after I watch the episode, but then I'll maybe go on and see what people had to say about this. And a lot of people like this one. And to me, this is my favorite of the Mitchell Kriegman shorts by far.
I agree. I felt the same way. I'm like, man, and I think that's what you want, right? During the season, we see improvement, and I think we're seeing. Like, even in, like, if you break it down, like, recurring segment by recurring segment, for the most part, they're getting better. And this is one of them. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious to see how many more Mitchell Kriegman shorts we'll get. We had mentioned that pretty sure he got fired mid-episode during the season, Damon Wayans style.
Yeah.
I think literally mid-episode, I think Mitchell Kriegman got fired for something. Yeah. So he's not long. I just don't know when that happened. So I'm curious to see if we get any more of these.
Yeah. I mean, if this was like the final one, that's a good way to go out.
Oh, good way to go out. Yeah, for sure. So earlier I had talked about for the heroin sketch that it's a high wire act, right? And sometimes you could just totally fall flat in your face, but I think they did a good job with the heroin sketch. Next, we had the welfare office sketch, and I don't think they landed the high wire this time around, Deremy. So it's
a fumble.
I thought it was. So it's first of all, the third sketch featuring David Carradine's Kane character, which, come on. So it's Kane and Yvonne Hudson. They're in a welfare office, and they're being told by Denny that they're to work as prostitutes, as welfare recipients.
These stamps, this black book, these intimacies, sounds like hanky-panky to me.
Well, prostitution? Well, forget it, honey, because I ain't turning no trick for the government. Consider the advantages, Miss Robley.
Are they trying to make a comment about the welfare system? I really can't tell. What's going on in this sketch?
So I think it's one of those things where it's too much. It's if you're not of 1980 and of that election, you don't know this. So I know it because I just am a history fan. But that was obviously a big thing that Reagan did with the welfare queens and talking about, and like he used that and racialized welfare. So that's kind of my problem with it. I kind of get why they have Yvonne, but I'm like, of course you have Yvonne in here for. I'm not going to say that they were trying to do this, but it's almost like, did you have her on here just because of the whole welfare queen stigma and black women on welfare? Like, and that's what it felt like.
It frustrated me that this is like the only thing that Yvonne got in the entire episode was playing the welfare recipient. It honestly, I thought about it and it did bother me.
Yeah, it pissed me off. I'm like, that's for a historical night and her being the first, like, it gets to me poo-pooed with this, where I'm like, honestly, the numbers show it and it would have been better. Why don't you let Ann be that person? Let Yvonne do something else. Why do you have to have her in there? And to me, you're trying to do that just because of the stigma, and you're playing into the stigma. And to me, the only way you can make this land, like you said, is if you really do something to flip it on its head, and they didn't do that.
No. They might have had some sort of angle and point about how you have to jump through hoops to receive welfare and everything, but, you know, when you're doing satire, I think you should be a little obvious when you're doing satire. You shouldn't have to spoon feed every little bit to people. But I think part of good satire is establishing what your like point of view. So I think when you make your point of view a little bit more clear, not talking down to people, but just making it a little bit more clear. I don't think they did this, and I thought it ended up being offensive with the Yvonne casting, and then using Kane again. It was comedically offensive, and lazy. But then casting Yvonne just really rubbed me the wrong way. I'm with you, Deremy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's just, and that's to me the core of the argument, the discussions comedy's always had, but over canceling and stuff like that. Over the recent years, I think the brilliance of comedy is talking about different things that are taboo, but you have to stick the landing. And the big thing to sticking the landing is what you said. You got to get that point of view across clear. And I feel like comics who get mad when they're like, what are you mad at? I'm like, a lot of times I do think, okay, you should be able to have the attempt, but you did not stick the landing. And so all the heat that you're getting where people are saying you're misogynistic or racist or homophobic, oh, no, I'm not. It's like, well, you didn't make that clear in this joke here. So that's on you. And I think that's on them for this. This was not a good sketch at all.
No, it missed the mark. And an otherwise, like, pretty good night. One of the few that genuinely missed the mark.
Probably my least favorite sketch was that one.
Yeah, I think mine too. And it was the last sketch of the night because we had a musical performance at the end. The Pirates of Penzance cast sings a Christmas Carol medley.
Until the Son of God appears. Rejoice! Rejoice! O Israel!
I wouldn't have minded another scene from the opera.
I agree.
And, you know, even if it was shorter or something, but I wouldn't have minded, or maybe have Linda Ronstadt like sing solo or something. I don't know. This was fine. I guess it makes sense because it's Christmas and stuff.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard to complain. But I totally would have enjoyed another short scene from the opera.
Yeah, because I don't really need, even in SNL's Christmas episodes that I'm been around for to watch. We know the Christmas episode, you have some sketches that highlight that. I don't need this, though, with my musical guest. I don't need, like, a musical guest to sing a Christmas melody because it's the Christmas episode. If you are the musical guest, I want to see you sing what you're known for or what you're trying to premiere. I thought it was kind of hokey, but I do understand it. But I was like, let them do what their whole thing. Like, let's see it. Like, they're trying to promote their show for Broadway for the next year. Let's see another performance from the show.
Exactly.
Like, I'm with you.
Yeah, but I thought it was fine. Whatever. It's Christmas. Close the show.
It was just like,
yeah. It was just exactly. It's just like, okay.
But I will say this real quick. We've kind of seen the previous episode, even though we've liked them. It's like they should end with like a high note or a decent note, but they'll add in like another sketch that's like, oh, why'd you do that?
Right.
I do like that they kind of ended with this.
Yeah, this was much better than the welfare ending on the welfare office.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Good point. Very good point. So then we have the good nights, and I think a first in SNL history, we have the host committing assault on one of the cast members, Deremy. It was very uncomfortable. He planted a kiss on Gail, and it seemed to me like she wasn't expecting it. She didn't welcome it. And he straight up, like, he kissed her kind of on the side, but he touched lips. So he kind of like leaned in and grabbed Gail and like kissed her on the lips. And it was pretty uncomfortable, quite frankly, for me to watch.
Yeah, I don't know if people have commented on that, or if I know Gail's been on Saturday Night Network.
Yeah.
And I've watched those interviews, but I haven't watched them in a little bit. It did seem, I don't know if it was just like did they have like a decent rapport that week, and she was surprised, or if she was
I
like,
don't want to totally project, I guess, like 'cause I don't know behind the scenes, but from an outsider's point of view, just him leaning over and like kissing her.
Well,
that's weird.
we've seen it so many times, even historically on SNL, present day, when you have a host of different genders, like male or female, and they have like the opposite gender right next to them. They when they're done the good nights, give them a kiss, but it seems welcomed.
Yeah, it seems more
like
mutual.
Right, you're right.
Yeah.
So that's why we have examples of it going well for the most part, and this was not one of them. This felt like
I had to watch again to see her reaction, and she wasn't like disgusted, but it didn't seem like that's what she was going for.
Well, and it seemed like, I mean, I don't God rest his soul, I don't know David Carradine.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like the action of someone who's inebriated.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was like a drunken kiss. Yeah,
that's what bothered me. It was like the classic like Christmas party. The boss is drunk, and then hey, give me a kiss, and it's like, come on, man, like
that is what it
just
seemed
offensive,
like.
you know, right? Yeah,
give me a kiss here. Come on, sweetheart.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was just like, come on, man, like be better.
So, and he wasn't invited back. Just it was an infamous. I've seen SNL fans talk about David Carradine being visibly drunk, and he didn't torpedo the show like somebody who was drunk during the episode could have, because it could have been a train wreck with the drunk host. But you could tell, like, I mean, the menswear sketch didn't work like it did because of his inebriation.
No, he's not a great host. Like, we've had like on Saturday night, like best one-time host or something. Like, he's not that. But because of the degree of difficulty, I was entertained, and he had some good moments.
Yeah, he was good here and there.
But that's why I said I also get why don't ask him back. Like, I'm not like, he should have come back. I'm like, no, they were smart to do that too. But I thought for everything, he did a good job, like, especially this season with, like, the other hosts. And he kind of had more to do than some of the other hosts. Like, they used him.
They did, yeah.
He was, like,
Yeah.
So I was kind of impressed by that. Like, wow, they're really putting him out there, because other hosts are kind of like, I feel like, all right, I see you in the monologue, and then it's like a few sketches later, like I see you, like I almost like forget you're the host. But not with David tonight, for good reasons and bad reasons. So yeah, very controversial.
Yeah, very much so. So that's our episode. Another one in the books here in season 6. So reasons for optimism coming out of the David Carradine episode, Deremy.
I have a few, quite honestly. Obviously, Eddie Murphy is just emerging more and more. I really feel like Gail is coming into just being like a potential in the running for MVP of the season. Like, this episode, she made a strong case that, hey, right now she's like, I don't know if she's the front runner, but maybe the front runner for MVP of the year from tonight's performance. So really like Gail. And I say the third one, the writing. This might be the best of the writing staff I've seen so far this season. I thought they did a very good job for this episode.
Yeah. I second all of those. And I think a couple of mine, I'm really enjoying the out-of-the-box ideas this season. So we've gotten short shots. So we both love that idea of taking a known bigger director and showing short films by them. We didn't get a short shot tonight, but I've enjoyed that aspect. Tonight's out of the box thing was like the musical guest, having the cast of the Pirates of Penzance on. I think that was really great. It seems like they're trying to find ways to differentiate themselves from the first 5 seasons. By doing little things like that. So I've liked that, Deremy. Just some of the out-of-the-box thinking that they've exhibited here.
I think that's a great point, and I do like that, and I think it just shows for me so far, kudos for Jean. Like, she's doing what she's paying homage to the old show. She's not making it so different that you're like, is this even SNL? But she is making it, like, her own in a way. I think that's what you got to do. You can pay homage to something in the past, but still you have to put your own footprint on it. And I think so far, even if some of the attempts don't land, I give her like a B+ for like trying. So far. So like I do like that.
Yeah, for sure. And then just like from a broader perspective, the Malcolm McDowell episode feels more and more like an outlier in terms of like the really poor quality so far.
I'm hoping.
So far, we're
So
saying
far,
like so.
yeah.
So this is only the 5th episode, but it really feels like that we've had the last 3 episodes to me have been pretty solid.
They've been really solid. And they kind of have been better and better and better.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, I can see that. So I think the stench of that Malcolm McDowell episode, it feels more in the distance to me. I'm not saying like I'm expecting the rest of the season to be pretty solid. I don't know. But in terms of quality, so far that's an outlier. Like I think the season's been pretty okay so far.
And I mean, and I agree. I think there's something, like I said, with Malcolm McDowell episode, there's some things that it's like, yeah, I don't know what you were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But in other things, I can say, hey, for your second episode as like a brand new cast, brand new writing staff, brand new executive producer, some of the mistakes I get, and I'm like, it makes sense that it happened the second episode of everyone really doing the show there in those roles. So I can kind of give a little pass for some of the mistakes. Others, no, but some I can understand. You're new.
Yeah, for sure. I have a couple nitpicks just really quick. One I'd mentioned, and they did actually a little better about that tonight, but I still think there are opportunities to make their satire and social and political commentary just a little clearer. That welfare office sketch was an egregious example, but I think there's moments here and there where they could just sharpen it up a little bit, but they did a little bit better. Like the Gun City one was on the right track. The Dallas Home version one was on the right track, but I think they can look at that welfare office sketch as an example of we can sharpen that up a little bit more.
And the chic, the rich people in Harlem,
yes,
I thought was a better example.
Yeah, it was a better example of that. Yeah, you're right too. But like I said, because that feels like more of a nitpick because they actually did do a better job of that this episode. And then the timing stuff, I think there's just still a few segments that just probably shouldn't air, and they're still putting them to air anyway, even though they're just obviously incomplete. Or maybe standards told them that they couldn't do an idea, and they just need to have the wisdom, I guess, just to make the decision then we're not going to do it. If we can't do it our way, we just not going to do it at all. So some of the timing stuff feels a little bit off and weird, but those are nitpicks. And I mean, I kind of had to nitpick this episode because I thought it was pretty darn solid.
Yeah. I think that what you said though for the nitpicks are solid. Like they're reasonable, and I agree with it. We're because I want people to listen. We're not calling this a classic season yet either. We're not saying this is one of the all-time great seasons.
This isn't Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman era. SNL. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We're not saying that, but so far, it's a lot better than what I don't want to speak for you, Thomas, but I'm pretty sure you have heard about it.
Yes.
It's better, way better than what I thought it would be. So the nitpicks are still there because it's not a all-time great season by any stretches, but it's making some solid cases for, man, where people treated unfairly in 1980, 80 and 81, by like the fans and the press and stuff. Yeah,
based on the first 5 episodes for me, maybe a little too harsh on season 6, but we still have a few episodes to go.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, so the next one, episode 6, and it's the first episode of 1981. Your host, Ray Sharkey. Do you know who that is? I don't.
I feel like I should. Ray Sharkey. I feel like I should know who he is, but it's not ringing
Sounds
a bell.
like a billiures player.
Yeah, that's actually true. But I'm trying to remember. I should
but
know.
I don't.
Was he,
yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you who Ray Sharkey is. So
yeah, it's not ringing a bell. Let me see.
I haven't looked him up either. So I will when I watch the episode.
Yeah, he wasn't Laverne and Shirley, was he? Maybe not, but looks like someone I should know.
So maybe when I see him, when I hit play on the episode, I might be like, oh, that guy. But as it stands, Deremy, no clue who Ray Sharkey is.
Yeah, as of right now, I don't know who Ray Sharkey is either. So,
does the musical guest ring a bell? Jack Bruce and Friends?
No.
Me either.
No.
So I think this is the first episode where I'm going completely blind. I don't know the musical guest or the host. This is going to be a fascinating one.
This really will be. Ray. Oh, I'm looking. I think I do know him. I thought he was in, but not at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen the movie Cop and a Half with Burt Reynolds?
Yes.
You know,
that's the last movie I thought you were gonna say. Have you ever seen Cop and a Half? Yes,
that's
yeah.
That's how I know him, though.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie so many times. I think he's the main bad guy.
Okay, he was the bad guy in Cop
The
and a
main
Half.
bad guy in
I
Cop
might
and a Half.
recognize him then. Okay,
Yeah.
he might be a that guy from Cop and a Half. Okay. Yeah, I'll do more research because like I said, I go into these episodes pretty blind. I start doing my research while I'll hit pause and but I'll start doing my research around like while I'm watching and afterward. So, but you said Cop and a Half, that gets my antenna up.
I think I know. So he wasn't in the. I'm like Cop and a Half. He was definitely in Cop. He's the main bad guy.
He's the big bad in Cop and a Half.
He's the big bad in Cop and a Half.
I love it.
Yep.
Okay, and still don't know who Jack Bruce and Friends is, but I'm sure they're a delight. So
yes.
So next week, episode 6, again, the first episode of 1981, my birth year. We have host Ray Sharkey, musical guest Jack Bruce, and friends Deremy. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm like energetic. We got a little momentum going in.
I agree, man. I'm looking forward. These have been pleasant surprises, and I say let the good times roll. Let's keep that momentum going, cast and writers for season 6. We believe in you.
Yes, sir. See you then, bud.
All right, see you.
Thanks for listening to the Not Ready for Primetime Project. Be sure to subscribe and follow wherever you listen to our podcast. You can also follow us on social media everywhere at NR4PT Project. Thanks for listening. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.